Welcome to Motivation Without the Hype podcast show. We appreciate you plugging in and spending time with us. And we have a very special guest returning, both Kat and Mark. Now, Kat is the founder of Amplify Your Influence, mentoring coaches and entrepreneurs in growing a profitable business. She has run multiple businesses internationally over 2 decades, delivered over 5,000 coaching sessions, and run over 250 events. Kat has left her corporate job and built a 6-figure business in less than 12 months and now help others to do the same. The second guest is Mark. Mark is the founder of Falcon Creative, a Sydney-based agency that partners with talented coaches, trainers, and service providers who are stuck in content creation and struggling to scale their business to the next level online. Now, Mark specializes in modern marketing and high production video funnels that convert and are scalable for profit. Thank you so much, guys, for coming onto the podcast show. And again, I'm super grateful that you guys are here with us. And I cannot wait to hear what we got in store for you guys that's listening and watching to our podcast show. So today's episode is what it takes to get the 10K months consistently. So in this episode, we're sharing 5 fundamentals. And if you are a coach, consultant, service-based entrepreneur, then this is for you. We help all people get results and transform their lives. And we got together and discussed at length what are the things that stop coaches and solopreneurs from leveling up.
Yeah, we got together and we really wanted to share some stories about how many business owners we see struggling and what we could do to actually help them. So we have such a heart to help entrepreneurs. We're passionate about entrepreneurship and really helping people who feel stuck, and especially stuck not being able to get up to that 10K level. And it's not just about the money, obviously. It's about helping more people and making more impact and helping people put systems in place that can really change the game for them so that they can help more people. And it's just such a shame to see these really heart-centered leaders who are brilliant at what they do, but they're not making the type of impact that they really could because they don't have those next level business skills that they need. And we've spoken to so many people lately who are really sick of their computers and sick of their laptops, and they want to get out there and go into more in-person environments. So we decided that we would run an event. We booked a venue and we're running that, and we're going to share a little bit about the event at the end of this episode, but we wanted to give you some of the knowledge straight away so that you can start using it straight away, which is what we're doing on this episode.
Awesome. Thanks, Kat. Guys, this is going to be amazing. So you're in for a treat. So what is number 1, Mark?
Cool. All right. So the first one is accelerate your attraction. This is, when it comes to getting your business out there, obviously the first thing that you need to do is get people's attention, right? You need to create visibility. You need to create awareness for what it is that you do. So that's usually the very first step, right? And usually the entry point for most entrepreneurs is social media and creating content on social media. Now, one of the big myths that a lot of people have around attracting their audience is you don't necessarily have to have a big audience to do that well. It's not always about bombarding people with content after content every single day. It's not about sending out lead magnet after lead magnet. There's actually a more sustainable way to do this, especially if you are someone who's ready to take your business to that next level, to get to 10K plus months, because the mindset that you're going to bring into that is going to be a lot different to, say, if you're generating from 0 to 3K a month, right? You've got to take a different mindset. And when it comes to accelerating your attraction, now that's important, because you want to be able to fast track your success as well. There needs to be an essence of not just patience, but there needs to be an essence of speed in there as well. So how do you do this? How do you get attention fast? Well, one is really creating the right type of content that gets in front of the right type of people at the right time in their customer journey. So that's really the formula to getting success online. And when it comes to content, there's many types of content that you can create, but one of the most powerful content that you can do is video. And the reason for that is, with video, it's probably the most accurate representation of reality, because at the end of the day, people don't buy from products, they buy from people. So with video, you can get in front of the camera and they can see your mannerisms, they can see your tone, they can see how fast you're speaking. So they can get a feel for you as a person, and they can really connect with you at a deeper level to do that. So when it comes to content, often for a lot of people out there, what the norm that everyone's attempting to do is they're creating content for likes and followers, rather than trying to create content for impact and income. Because when you the mindset that you come, either if you're aiming for more likes or followers, is going to be different, and the type of content that you're going to create is going to be different if you're coming from a mindset of trying to generate more impact and more income. So, for example, if you're someone who wants more likes and followers, it's likely that you're going to create content that's simply to get people to know what you do and get people to like what you do. So a lot of like influencers out there on Instagram, especially, they've got a lot of followers. They've got thousands and thousands of followers in there, but they're not really generating sales at the end of the day. Versus someone who probably doesn't have that many followers, doesn't have that big audience, but if they have a strategy around their content and they've got an infrastructure to support that, then they could actually drive sales faster than someone with a big audience. So it's really a combination of creating strategic content and knowing what type of content is actually going to guide someone along the customer journey in a faster way. So I'll give you an example. If you're video, once again, but what type of video will help you build that attraction fast? Well, you want to be able to focus on trust, on building trust, because that's the part that a lot of entrepreneurs forget. They know how to build know and like, but they forget about the trust part. So videos like testimonials, case studies, even behind the scenes, success stories of your clients. These are the type of videos that you actually want to get in front of your audience, and actually, because at the end of the day, people who actually want to invest in you helping them are the ones that's actually going to trust you to do that.
And I guess that's like when you're just trying to chase likes. I had a lady once say to me, "Oh, I posted this cat video and I got way more likes, so should I post more funny stuff?" And I said, "Well, did it get you clients?" Because I think some of this gimmicky stuff that, yeah, people like it because it's entertaining. So yeah, you're going to get more likes, maybe more comments, more shares. But is that the goal? Like, that's a vanity metric, right? So you're saying that when you're really strategic with your content, people are more likely to actually take action and be inspired to reach out to you as opposed to just liking it.
Absolutely. And like I said, like, people connect with the person, not so much with the product. So it doesn't matter so much, what product or service that you're putting out there. At the end of the day, people really connect with your charisma, with your personality. So being able to showcase that on video is even more powerful because they get to see you on camera. You can show behind the scenes. You can show videos of your clients to build that trust. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've really noticed a difference between people that are just starting up and their willingness to, when people are a little bit further along in the journey in their business, and realizing that, oh my gosh, I have to show up. I can't hide behind blogs. I can't just hide behind captions anymore, because I need to go to that next level of mindset to actually be the face and get over the fears. And I know it's really common for people to have that massive fear of showing up. So there are mindset blocks to overcome, and Jez is going to be talking about how to overcome some of these mindset blocks at the event. Jez, do you have any quick tips on mindset for people who are afraid to jump on the camera?
I think it's just that fear, and I'm a firm believer that practice makes it permanent. And so the more that you get into the video, it may not be perfect, and that's okay. But once you start to create that habit, then you start to overcome those fears. And if you don't start, you're going to be held back. So that's one of my tips is, get started, as in now.
So we were chatting about really what is it that attracts people in our content? How do we grab attention? Because we all know that it's so saturated online, and there's like so much competition now, especially during the pandemic. So many more businesses came online. So we were talking, what are the fundamentals? What are the ingredients to attracting people, grabbing attention? Because attention is the first part, right? We've got to be able to get attention. So I'm going to be unpacking. There's actually 7 ingredients that I teach where you can attract people using your content. I'm just going to share 2 of them here just quickly. The first one is curiosity. And without curiosity, people aren't going to read more, or like click the read more or see more. They're not, whether it's a sponsored ad or an organic post. Without curiosity, they're not going to keep watching your video. So you might it's not about just waving, hey, come over here. In order to get them to stay on your video or keep reading through your post or your blog or your email, there's got to be that element of curiosity. Curiosity builds tension in the body. That's why TV and movies and great books, they always use this factor, and so many people don't use it in their attraction content, and their content is very much how to. It's almost like, anyone can just Google those things, whereas when you've got curiosity and you know how to hook people in and get them to keep reading, that's a key ingredient to attracting. Another ingredient, which I'm going to dive deep into at the event that we've got coming up for those of you who can make it, but those of you who can't, relatability is a key ingredient to helping people to like you, because people buy from who they like. And so you want to not just show your credibility. We have to show our credibility, which is our authority, it's our experience, our skills, our knowledge. We have to show that, but we have to balance it with relatability. And when you get the sweet spot between these two, so it's not just like authority, I'm so great, like that's going to put people off. But if it's only sob stories and you're just super vulnerable without balancing it with your credibility, expertise, because that's what people hire you for. So when you get these in a really beautiful sweet spot, that's when your content starts to attract.
Thanks, Kat. That was phenomenal with those ingredients. I know we're going to get more of those at the event.
Number 2, fundamental to how to get to your business to 10K months consistently, is to build trust, which Mark touched on. So trust is the key ingredient you need to sign clients. Without trust, it's impossible. It's actually impossible to sign clients. And trust happens with not just showing up with this, one post, but it's actually with over time. Trust is built over time. We don't trust someone the first time we meet them. It happens over a period of time. So we want to speed up the process, but how do we do that without having someone follow us for like 6 months until they actually make a buying decision? So we want to speed up that process, and we need to do that by getting time with people. Time, once you have attention and they know about you, they start to like you, the big thing that's missing is the next piece. They need to trust you, and how fast you build trust determines how fast you'll sign clients. So there's a way that you can build trust super fast, which Mark touched on, and it's so impactful, and it's one of the fastest ways to build trust, and it's presenting. So when you present on video, whether it's Insta Story, Facebook Live, whether it's running an event, a workshop, it is the fastest way to build trust, because you position yourself as an authority. So many people aren't willing to do it. So if you are willing to do it and get on a platform, metaphorically, you're sitting behind your screen, so you're safe. In most cases, you're doing it online. It goes so much further than logos or fancy websites. People won't spend money on you unless they trust you and your process. No trust, no transaction. So presenting is one of the fastest ways to build trust. And there's a really great story in Daniel Priestley's book, Oversubscribed, and he talks about a bunch of research that was done that said that in order for someone to make a significant buying decision, they need about 7 hours. 7 hours of consuming content. So that's a lot of posts. So if you're just doing it written, it does take time, but you can get 7 hours in one day. That's why events are such a powerful strategy to build trust, because if you think about those times where you have made a significant buying decision, often it's because you've been live in person with that person, or you've seen their face, like Mark was talking about your mannerisms. You instantly, you feel it. It's not just reading words on a page. Why do you find it so powerful, Mark?
I mean, that's awesome how you mentioned about the amount of time, like 7 hours or whatever, for someone to finally build that trust with you. It's very similar to what I heard, like when it comes to touch points with content, it takes probably 11 to 15 touch points now, probably more, for someone to actually decide, oh, I'm going to become a client, I'm going to purchase from this person. And when I say touch points is anything that someone experiences about your brand. So whether that's they see your video, they meet you in an event, they hear you from a podcast, even if you get referred to them. So these are all these touch points, and subconsciously, what's happening when these are coming to you, subconsciously, you're already making up your mind about, oh, do I like this person, or no, I don't like this person, or yeah, I want to find out more about this person. So subconsciously, you're already making these decisions, right? And they say that by the time someone actually jumps on a call with you, and I know for a lot of you are coaches and service providers, and one part of your strategy is to get people on a call, right? So by the time someone actually jumps on a call with you, 80 to 90% of their mind's already made up, because they've already filtered all the information, all the content that's coming at them, and they started to make decisions based on their own story, internal values, their own beliefs, right? So being able to influence them on a subconscious level is really one of those secrets. And for a lot of, if you are stuck in making past 3K months, for example, chances are it's because you're probably focusing too much on the conscious side, which is, okay, I'm going to post a piece of content, I'm going to do it as many times a day, and then hopefully I'll sit back and that someone will message me or send me a DM or book a call with me. So a lot of that is where you're kind of relying on hope marketing, right? So when you're sitting back and hoping. But once you've actually got the content, and we talked about content at the start, once you've got the right content to get in front of the right people, then you've got to think about, and this goes into the third part, which is generate quality leads, is do I have a system to actually capture those leads? And a system is so important, especially if you're leveling up, because by having a system, that's going to help you also free up your time, right? And if you're an entrepreneur who's leveling up to 10K months, you're probably thinking, I gotta wear more hats, I gotta do more work, but you won't be able to sustain that, right? You've got to think, how am I gonna automate tasks? How am I gonna delegate tasks so I'm not doing everything anymore? Because like I said, you can hustle your butt off for the next month and make the 10K, but then think about, you're gonna end up hating your business. You're gonna end up burning out. Right? So you've got to think smart. And this is what I found, and I'm sure with Kat and Jez, this is what they found, is that it's not so much about hustling, it's about having a system behind that. So I'll give you some quick tips. When it comes to building a system, you've got to understand the customer journey. So there's actually 5 steps around that. So one, we talked about this already, which is attraction. So awareness, the awareness stage. Second is the interest stage. So once you've attracted them, the next stage is they take an interest in what you do, right? Once you've got their interest, then you move into the evaluation stage, where they're now trying to evaluate your business amongst all the other competitors. So you've got to convince them, you've got to present your point of difference of why they should choose you amongst all the other competitors out there. And then once they narrow you down as their the number one choice, then they're going to move to start to making a decision. And usually that could be when they jump on a call with you, then that's going to assist them. You can assist them in actually making that final decision to work with you, right, all the way to a purchase. So when you're clear on what these stages are in the customer journey, you can actually see which type of content you can use to guide someone to the next step. So the content that you use for, say, someone at the awareness stage might be different to the type of content you're presenting in front of someone who's at evaluation stage, right? Someone who's evaluating your business might be more interested in seeing social proof, like testimonial videos or case studies, or behind the scenes, just to build that trust. And we talk a lot about trust. So that's part of the importance of actually building out your system. It'll help you free up your time, which is what you desperately need if you're going to level up. It's going to help you automate those processes so you're not doing everything. And yeah, those are really pretty much the main points, right?
It's crazy what happens when you get this right. Like when you actually put this automation in, like I never believed that it was possible to make money when I wasn't kind of doing all the work all the time. And when I realized that people could actually put money into my account when I was like on holiday, and you built this asset. Like it takes time, but once you've built it, you've got this profitable asset where people are working through your funnel. I was so scared of the word funnel. I was like, technology too freaky. But when I actually learned it, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got so much control over my business because And it's one of the most leveraged activities you can do, because if you're just got low ticket all the time, you just need to be marketing and hustling and pushing all the time, and you have to be doing so much manually. So when you actually say, right, I'm not going to be doing things the old school manual way anymore, I'm going to start taking that automated approach to capturing leads, and not just any leads, but quality people, like putting the right content together to attract the right people. It's incredible. You can generate a heck of a lot of income without doing a heck of a lot of work. That's what I love about these systems, systemizing your business, because it actually does lead to freedom.
Yeah, and the third thing, and you just reminded me there, Kat, when you talked about it feels like you have more control, you have more certainty. Because when you have a system, you can create more predictability in your business. Right. For example, with McDonald's, they have an amazing system. That's why they've been around for so long. They know how to make Big Macs. You know, they've got a proven formula, a proven system for that, and they just keep repeating and repeating the same process, and it produces the same results for them. So they know how to optimize those results. So predictability, and you don't have to rely on hope marketing, right?
Yeah, and so many people tell me that they want that consistency. That's why we put these together. It's about getting 10K months consistently, because you might be getting it, like going through those ups and downs, and that's so discouraging when you have a good month and then you have a bad month and you feel like you can't go on a holiday from it, because people have either forgotten you or you come back and your inbox is completely flooded, and you want to automate and systemize things, but also provide that exceptional client experience, which you can do, which we're really diving deep into at this event. Built trust, we've captured them, so we've used landing pages and systemization to build a system so that we're creating a scalable asset, and then we need to convert them. And this is where a lot of people kind of freak out. But obviously, if you're in business, I'm sure you understand the importance of converting leads into clients. Like if we don't convert, then we're out of business. We have no business. And a lot of business owners, they don't like the idea of being salesy, and I totally get it. When I first started out in business, I really hated selling. I just wanted people to come to me and just say, oh, I want to be a client. But the truth was, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand business. I just wanted to help people. I didn't realize that selling actually was helping people. So it was a complete mind shift for me. I've noticed that over the last 5 years doing business coaching, there are two main things people get wrong when it comes to converting clients. The first thing is they don't do enough of it. So they don't get in front of enough people, and they avoid sales conversations. And the second thing is that they sell too much. So they jump in too fast, they become too pushy, and they put people off because they have a desperate kind of scarcity mentality. So the first thing is overcoming that and realizing that when you get your marketing right, it's almost like you don't have to sell, which I think is really exciting, because even though I love sales, I love when I get onto a conversation with someone and it's just, are we a match, rather than there's no convincing, is it a match?
Battling against objections.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all of that. You don't have to do that. So it can be such an enjoyable experience where you're not convincing them of anything. But the coolest way to do that, because the market's changed and we're more educated now than ever before, this whole idea of selling is completely different. So if you want to sell without feeling like you're selling, we can do what we call education-based selling, which is a completely different art form. Because the cool thing about the marketplace and offering people your program or your coaching service is that if you enjoy teaching people new things, if you enjoy sharing information and advice with people, you're in a really good in a really great position to understand how we're selling now, which is because we're educating first, we're not having to do some of those traditional sales anymore. We don't need to sell anymore. We educate instead. And at the event, I'm showing a framework around how to actually do this in the most effective way. But have you guys found this with the way the market's shifted? It's a completely different ballgame with the way we're selling now.
I think people kind of know what to expect when they get into a sales conversation. So they kind of probably look for ways around, how to, when they have objections or whatever. But I think when it comes to sales, if sales is a natural thing for you, right? You're naturally good at sales. But the truth is, not everyone is naturally good at sales. But if you're someone who's naturally good, you're gonna enjoy it, right? And you're gonna do well in having those conversations and converting, and you're probably gonna love getting those objections and overcoming them, right? And I know I have a lot of friends that are very good at sales, and that's actually their genius. So they love going to these conversations. But if you're someone who's probably doesn't have that much natural ability around sales, or you probably just don't like it because you're a complete introvert, what we talked about earlier, like accelerating your attraction, building trust fast, generating quality leads through systems. When you have that in place, and what happens is it makes the sales process so much easier, right? So like Kat said, once you get to that process, then it's really just finding out if that person is the right fit for you, or you're the right fit for each other. If you can, qualifying them to the next stage, right? So it's more of a natural conversation rather than just trying to, convince someone that, hey, I'm the business for you, buy my product, right? It's more like, are we the right fit, right? Is this really what you're after? Do I have the solution for you? Yeah. So that's, for me personally, that type of conversation is a lot more fun, one, and I actually get a lot better conversions. If anything, my conversions is a lot higher when I've got, the stuff before that in place correctly. Because I remember, like, before I didn't have that, the sales process was there's so much resistance. I was battling through those conversations just to get a sale. But now, up-leveling your business, having those systems in place, knowing how to attract people, knowing how to tap into the subconscious. So by the time, like I said, by the time they get in a call with you, they're already made up. Their mind's already made up.
Yeah, and when you really understand influence, that influence is helping someone to improve the quality of their life, and selling is service. It's actually helping. So if you love coaching, if you love helping people, that's when you can reframe it as it's actually coaching, because you're asking questions, you're helping someone to get to the point where that, like, do I want to invest in myself right now? And if you can be quite detached from the outcome and think, how can I really help this person, rather than how can I pay my bills this month, it's completely different energy. You position yourself as an authority, and you know that you're the prize. They can't get you anywhere else. So rather than you trying to convince them, it's like they need to convince you that that they're committed, because if you've only got a certain amount of coaching spots, for example, or consulting spots, you don't want it to be going to, if you're trying to scale up to 10K plus, you don't want those spots to be going to people that are uncommitted, going to turn up late, muck you around. You want great clients. Like, I've got a new client who signed up last week, and she wants to hit $500,000 in the next year, and she's on the call early. She's committed. She's writing notes. She's got a completely different energy to someone who's like, oh yeah, you need to convince me to work with you. No, like there needs to be a mindset shift if you want to scale up your business, to you are valuable and people get to work with you. So that's tapping into that mindset of a high performer, which Jez is going to share about in point number 5.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, guys, is from both of you is, sometimes people tend to build a perception, but it's really that positioning of authority. And it's all about being present, but the same token is taking that extra step. And these are the extra steps that we're actually listening to today's episode is, from attraction to leads. There's always a system and steps into that. And you can't take any shortcuts. To get an outcome, you need to follow a streamlined process that's logical at the same time. And this is where high performance is inserted, because there's an extra effort. I mean, like I had a client one time where it's all about priorities, right? And sometimes with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and coaches and consultants, they do so many things in terms of tasks that they get so much overwhelmed and they get stuck. And so how do we chunk it down? And the problem and the challenge that most people face is time management. Everyone is time poor. But if you're able to be more strategic in how you utilize your times through chunking, and this is where high performance starts to get into play, is because you want it to be, outcome driven. You want to be more focused, okay? And you're doing things because why? You're not here just to be task driven. We need to be focused and outcome driven. And if there's certain tasks that doesn't give you the high value return, don't do it. And so when you got the scattered mindset, that's being overwhelmed. And I think when you first start out as a coach or a consultant, it's all about the doing, right? You're doing this, you're doing that. However, there's no strategy, there's no systems, there's no type of ways where you get more clients into your business, into your funnels. That's all strategic. And this is the reason why we got together, is to share our secrets, to say, you know what, we're getting these results because we want to give you this game plan, this playbook, and that outlines everything from start to finish. And the reason why I wrote Motivation Without the Hype is because motivation really is all about decision. And so if you're listening today, it's all about a decision, what you want to achieve in your life and in your business. So think about it this way, where when it comes to high performance, most coaches and consultants don't see the beyond. And Kat, you mentioned perfectly about reframing your mind. Goals are achievable when you reframe your mind that it is. If you don't reframe your mind that it isn't, pretty much it's not going to happen, right? And we've got stand of excellence and we've got so much potential, so much to give, but yet we're giving our effort, our engine into a Toyota Corolla when we know we're built for a Ferrari, a Bugatti, a Lamborghini. We're built for high performance, right? And if you're putting your systems to what we're going to be providing in those 5 steps and those 5 key areas, you're pretty much putting yourself into a Corolla that's only going to go 100 kilometers per hour. But what we're trying to build together, guys, just listen, what we're building together is fast tracking your progress. Why do you want to reinvent the wheel when you know it's going to take you forever, when you know you've got strategic mindset, insights, a game plan that's right there in front of you, that instead it's going to take you 5 years, it's probably going to take you 5 months, 5 weeks. But it's all about that effort and energy. So if you want to take the extra, if you want to take the ordinary to the extra to become extraordinary, then in between the gap is where you need to be. And that is where we put an event together to put those 5 steps so you can perform at a higher level, right? And, statistics shows that if you are decisive to what you do, you produce more, 30% more on your output. So there's so many things I want to share with you about just the amount of time that we only have together, but it's all about decision. You just got to make that choice right now that you're listening. So, you know what, this is for me, and don't think about how much it's going to cost. Man, the greatest investment that you're going to give yourself really is personal development, and to really develop and really scale higher with predictability, with your business, with the funnels, with the money, whatever it is. I'm just super excited, but it's that 10K consistently. that it's not going to be sporadically, but it's consistently every single month.
Yeah.
And this is what we've got here. So I'm really excited, guys. Yeah, high performance.
You're awesome, Jim.
Let's go.
So there's a good analogy when you talked about cars, and you feel like you're trying to get to the next gear, right? But you can't seem to do it. And I've experienced this like on a literal example where I'm driving my car and I'm trying to go up the hill, but if I'm not changing that gear, that's going to feel like a real uphill battle until you know how to change the gear, right? Because if you don't, then you're going to slow. You're not going to get up that hill fast. You're going to pretty much get stuck if you don't take it to the next gear. So if you do feel like that's kind of where you are in your business right now, and you don't know how to, step it up to the next gear, and a lot of that will come down to strategy, but also a combination of mindset, right? When it comes to scaling your business to 10K months, you can't have you got to have both, right? It's a combination of the mindset and the strategy. And there's a lot of habits as well that Jess is going to be talking about in his presentation. When I think of high performance, there's certain habits that you need to implement. Like, for example, being laser focused, being someone who's able to adapt to change really quick, someone who can get through the hardships, right? These are just some of the examples that I can think of. When I think of a high performer, they've got habits in place. And the reason why I'm saying habits is because habits are actionable. And what Jess is going to be presenting to you is actionable steps of implementing those habits so that you can achieve more focus, you can adapt to those big changes, and you can overcome those hardships, right?
Yeah, it's really important to have mindset and habits, right? Because you can have mindset, yeah, I believe this, I have self-belief, but if you don't have high-performing habits to scale your business, then that's a different ballgame. Going back to my client where feeling overwhelmed, and there are a big contrast between a high performer, and these are the steps that we outline. And most people tend to think to avoid the challenges, right? They try to ignore the feedback, the less effort, the input, and sometimes giving up is really easy, and the mindset tends to think, well, I'm a failure, but you know what? As a high performer, it's not failure, it's only feedback to getting better. And I think this is where the contract starts to happen, is that high performer embraces the challenges, doesn't avoid the challenge. They don't, just run away from, criticisms or feedback. They actually take feedback to getting better, and, they take more effort with strategies rather than giving up so easily. And so high performer is all about high performing habits. And it's all, again, I go back, it's all about a decision. So think about as a car, I love Lamborghinis, and that's one of my favorite cars. And so, think about the 4 things that we've learned today about these 4 wheels, right? And these are the, you should say, the external, because these are the motors that move you forward. But the mindset and the high performing is all about the engine. That's the internal, that's the belief system. And so to take it to the next level is really the mindset and the habits that's built inside of us, which is the engine. And that's how I see it. And this is the reason why these 5 key areas are so crucial.
But it's actually the mindset that drives it, which you can't Google. You can't try and shift your mindset through just getting more information. It actually comes from inspiration and being around the right people and the energy, and being around people that hold you to a higher standard. And so if you want to scale up but you're not changing your environment, the people that you're hanging around with, it's always going to keep you in that second or third gear. And there's nothing more valuable in business than support. Having a supportive community that holds you to that high standard, and receiving, clarity and guidance and direction from people who have achieved what you want to achieve, right? So when we don't immerse ourselves in environments of growth, our businesses can stay small and stuck. So if you know that you want to go to the next level, if you know that it's your time, you need expert eyes on your business. We all need expert eyes on our business to accelerate our results. We can't ever become a high performer without having high performers around us and having support. Like the CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, said, he said this quote that I love: every famous athlete, every famous performer has a coach. Like, one thing that people are never good at is seeing themselves as other people see them. So if you want to accelerate, you need other people's perspective. And this is why we created this event, because we know that being in environments of growth and getting the answers to business questions and networking and connecting is the thing that gets you the finances, the fulfillment, the freedom that you want. And in the event that we've got coming up in Sydney, we really go deep and show you how to make these 5 things work for you. And so when we got together and discussed like what we could put in the event, we really have come up with a structure where we dive deep into the step-by-step how-to. So it's not about just getting more and more information like we've talked about in this podcast episode. It's about doing the right things and doing them properly.
And this is really an opportunity for you guys to really, start to level up, like pretty much right now, like just making that commitment to say, look, I'm not going to just try to work things out on my own. I'm going to find, I'm going to surround myself with the right people who I can widen my perspective. Because if you are stuck in your business, the reason for that is because you only know what you know. So I remember someone told me this early on, and it's so true. You only know what you know. So you need to, in order for you to expand that knowledge and experience and your skills and have that high performance skills, then you've got to surround yourself with people who can actually show you how to do that. And like this example right now where you're seeing us 3 together, for us to actually come together like this is part of that next level mindset. It's part of that high performance mindset, because you can't, if you want to fast track your success, because we talked about fast tracking so much, right? If you want to fast track, then you've got to find people, right? And part of the strategy, I can share that with you now. What we're going to be talking about is when you have that when you surround yourself with that people, and you can actually seek out the right people, you can actually leverage through their audience. So this is part of attraction and getting that quality leads in there. If we call it LOPA, right? Leverage from other people's audiences. And we're going to actually be talking a lot about this. And this is a great strategy, especially if you're someone who probably has a small audience, or you just don't know how to attract like cold leads. So that's what, a lot of this, we're going to be talking about the event. So we really hope you're going to be there.
Yeah, and it's incredible because us 3 are part of a mastermind, and we come from different parts of Sydney. And when we got together, it's like we all started up leveling. And when we decided to put on this event, we thought, how can we make it a no-brainer? And so we decided that we were just going to give value all day. So I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit over some of those events where they are just speaking high level all day, or they're giving you like 50 strategies, but you don't know how to apply them. You go home overwhelmed. And so I'm just over those events and all of those free events. Yeah. And that's why we wanted to create an event that's really different, where we're not pitching anything. We're not selling anything. We're simply turning up, giving value step by step. We're diving deep into the strategies that we talked about on this episode. And you just get to meet a whole bunch of really cool entrepreneurs.
All right. So you probably need to replay this again and again and again, because just this episode alone has been mind-blowing with so much content and value. So if you think this is a lot, there is more into this event, and we want to let you come to our event and experience this. There's something about live events that just takes you to the next level. Not only that you get to meet and greet, but it's the environment and the actual atmosphere that you're going to experience. So look, we're going to share the link and the dates. In fact, it's going to be on June 19, which is on a Saturday in Sydney, and all the information that you need to get started and how you can actually get access to this event is all on the show notes. So the seats are very limited. Plus, if you want to reserve your seats right now, Guys, it's only $1. Can you believe that? Only $1 to reserve your seat. And if you love the event, it's only going to cost $49 on the actual day. So please jump on it. Seats are limited. Take this opportunity around and click that link on the show notes. And we cannot wait to see you and serve
See you
you
there.
at this
Thanks, guys.
event.
See ya.